Hello everyone. The farmers' agitation is going on, and at the moment there seems to be no end in sight. Today we have with us Chairman of Indian Chamber of Food and Agriculture, Dr. M. J. Khan, the person who has the credentials to talk about these subjects. Welcome to Indian History, Mr. Khan. Dr. Khan, you are heading the apex body of Indian food and agriculture sector, and you are well versed with the problems of this sector. This farmers' agitation is entering its 100th day. So we would like to know from you what is the crux of the matter? What is the way out? Both the parties are sticking to this stand.
Thank you very much. A lot has been discussed about what went wrong and how this agitation started, why it started, which side is right, what can be done. So if we have to reflect back into the reasons leading to agitations, now everybody is reconciled or agreed to the fact that communication deficit led to the trust deficit, leading to apprehensions and leading to agitations. So what happened? These reforms were overdue. There is no denying the fact. For many, many years, we had been talking about the reforms in the agriculture sector, especially the post-harvest side, where connecting the farmer with the market and opening up the trade. But these ordinances were brought in during the peak of the corona period. So first wrong message went was that where was the urgency when this government itself in the last 7 years and previous governments in the last many years did not bring about these kind of legislations. So why during the peak of corona period, and that too through the mode of ordinances, these bills have been promulgated. So this was the first reason of farmers seeing something fishy and wrong in these bills. Though I personally feel there is nothing wrong in that. Second thing happened that the government chose to discuss with the industry chambers and not with the farmers organizations, which led to the further confusion and apprehensions among the farmers that these bills are actually good to the industry, not good to us. Otherwise, government would have been discussing with us and not with the industry chambers. Third thing happened that between the period of ordinance and the legislation, there was a lot of time. Prime Minister himself was addressing many Zoom meetings, and government was engaged at various levels in that discussion with multiple bodies, not about the farmers, not about these bills, but in general. So there was no meeting took place between ordinances that were brought in and the bills tabled in the house. When the physical format, the house assembled, there could not have been even one meeting. So that further added the fuel. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I would put it from either which side you are looking at it, this Aratyas in Punjab, they actually fueled the agitation because they felt that they will be out of business if the trade gets reformed or it gets opened up and the choices are created. So that led to the political upmanship in Punjab, which side goes more aggressively against these issues, leading to the resignation of a central minister who was part of this coalition, Mrs. Harsimrat Kaur Badal. So that is how I would sum up. But there is one point which everybody found that should have been avoided because that served as a trigger in Punjab. That was that tax inside the mandi and no tax outside the mandi. So impression given was that state mandis will get into losses over a period of time and the state government will eventually hand them over to the corporates, leading to complete monopoly, which many stakeholders and many interest groups were already apprehending. So that is how the things started.
As you said, the government should have discussed these proposals with farmers before promulgating the ordinance. So do you think if the government had discussed the nature and the nature of these laws would have been different? Government should have incorporated something else in these laws?
Probably a couple of concerns of the farmers' bodies, these could have been factored in. In any case, farmers would have got more pacified that they have been able to put forth their viewpoint, and whichever arguments were genuine, ideally government should have accepted. So this would have actually not led to a situation that got created. But to handle the situation, initially when it was Punjab, agitation confined to the state of Punjab, the government of India did not pay much attention because it remained convinced that these bills are good and these agitations are fueled by some interest groups that will subside over a period of time. But as agitation sites shifted from Punjab towns to the Delhi border, farmers got enhanced negotiating power. And as Tikait got into agitation by foot march from his village, this slowly got into the Hindi belt also. So then the character became from Punjab to an all India character. So largely it remains still green belt agitation, but the impression is that it's all India. So in some ways all India we can look at, because some farmers are participating from across the country also. So then government become flexible to listening to the farmers, but farmers with the enhanced and augmented negotiating power, they remain then got firm that these bills have to be, acts have to be withdrawn. So that is where the problem is. Then farmers added another thing which was not part of the acts, that there must be MSP applicable as a guaranteed price for all the 23 crops for all the farmers.
So at this juncture, what is your impression? Now the government, the farmers still want all the laws to be repealed, or they will be satisfied with if the MSP thing is given legal,
I think I agree with you. If MSP is actually accepted by the government, though there will be some implications, we have done a thorough analysis of what implications in terms of market distortions, in terms of implication to the trade, in terms of inflationary trends that follow, in terms of financial costing of that. We have done a lot of calculation on that. If government makes up the mind, it is possible. It can be implemented. Because the positive side of it is that every farmer will get a guaranteed minimum price. MSP means minimum support price, which a farmer definitely deserves to be paid. Today the market situation is that farmers are selling in majority much below the MSP. So that is not then farmers' remunerative price, because when the government has done the calculation of minimum support price, then every farmer has to be guaranteed minimum support price. So there I would agree with the farmers' demand that MSP must be guaranteed, even if it leads to 0.25%, 0.4% of the inflation, even if it leads to, but positive side of that is if extra money into the pockets of the farmers, they will do a lot of spending. So rural economy will boost, ultimately demands of goods and services will be created. So overall economic growth will follow. So I do not see much difficulty on that. Now the original point that you asked, I am sure if MSP government agrees to the way farmers are demanding, then the withdrawal of the 3 acts can definitely be, will not be a stumbling block. Farmers will agree to that. So they are using this as a more negotiation chip rather than actual demand.
So do you think the government will finally veer down towards accepting this MSP demand? Who will take the first call? Who will make the first move to resolve this deadlock?
The situation that I see, farmers are asking or sticking to the demand of repeal of the 3 acts and MSP as a bargaining chip. Actual demand or actual gain of the farmers will be, so already the problematic areas government has agreed to reform, amend. That is tax uniformity inside and outside, grievance redressal point from SDM and the option of a court. And I think some 2 other more demands, that 10 years old tractor which is not part of this legislation, and electricity reforms bill and stubble burning, these 3 extra things that government has agreed to accept. So the 2 major point of problem that farmers were seeing, that government has agreed to amend that. So if that is done, so there is nothing wrong in the bill. Government is also convinced, and most of the experts are also convinced. I have been votary for these reforms, so I have been defending these acts. In all my interviews, if you see, I have been defending these bills. However, with these 2 amendments, farmers are okay with these 3 bills, so repeal is not required. Comes the MSP, if government agrees to, then the major demand of the farmers, where farmers are actually going to benefit, and not only these green revolution belt farmers, they in any case are getting MSP. The real benefit will be the farmers who have not been getting that MSP price. And these are poor farmers of Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, all these poorer belts, non-green revolution belt farmers, where mandi system has not been adequately developed. So these farmers will actually benefit by that, because in Punjab almost 95-98% farmers are getting MSP. Haryana 90+% farmers, Western Uttar Pradesh 80% plus farmers are getting MSP. So who will actually benefit by if MSP is made a mandatory? It is the farmers of Eastern UP, Bihar, Bengal, Assam, every other place. So I think government should take a more positive view. Now your point is, so far, my understanding is that government still remains convinced that these acts are good, farmers are unjustified in demanding, and then there is a battle of perception going on. Farmers are feeling that having given so much sacrifice, having suffered so much, they must go back with something in hand, not the empty-handed.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank
Khan,
you.
for talking to Indian News team on this very burning issue.